श्री राधा वृंदावन चंद्र की, श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की, श्री श्री गौर निताई की, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की, समावेत गौर भक्त वृंद की, कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्वषे नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयं उदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Welcome all of you for this Bhagavatam class this morning. We are reciting from Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th canto, 19th chapter. Lord Vamanadev begs charity from Bali Maharaj. There is a series of beautiful verses we will recite. We are discussing on the topic of satisfaction versus complacency in spiritual life. So I will show you both verses in the Bhagavatam and then we will discuss more. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Yavanto Vishayah Preshthas Trilokyam Ajitendriyam Na Shaknuvanti Te Sarve Paripurayatum Nripa. See, Yavanta Vishayaha Preshtaha means if the objects of sense objects, the objects of the senses, which are pleasing to everybody, Trilokyam Ajita Indriyam, a person who is not controlled in his senses, he considers the sense objects very pleasurable. He is chasing after them. Na Shaknuvanti Te Sarve Pradipurayitam. Even all the sense objects, millions of them in the material world, are unable to satisfy such a person. The personality of Godhead said, "Oh, my dear king, even the entirety of whatever there may be within the three worlds to satisfy one's senses cannot satisfy a person whose senses are uncontrolled," he says. Example is Hiranyakashipu. All the sense objects were at his disposal. But he is called as, Ajitendriya. His senses were not controlled. To put it very precisely, we can say, if your desires are greater than your assets, then you are a poor man. And if your assets are greater than your desires, you are a rich man. For example, I went to the house of one congregation devotee who invited me for, installing a Bhagavatam in their home. The house was only, half of this hall. That is the size of the house. Small house. The poor man, he, his wife and 2 children, when I went to their house, they all were standing outside with beautiful tilaks in their forehead, all wearing dhoti, kurta, Mataji wearing sari, children also looking very effulgent and all with folded palms, welcoming, offering flowers and everything, garland. So, when I went inside their house, I saw house is only half this hall size, and in that also, in the middle of the hall, he has put a very big altar, like this big altar. So, other side of the altar is kitchen, and this side of the altar is living room. That's all they have. That type of house they had. And he is doing some LED business. They make this board, shops, that kind of business. In a month, he gets about 2 to 3 orders he gets. With that, the family is running. Little saving he has. So he told me that to buy this Bhagavatam set, last 5 years I have been saving money, he said. And then I asked, can I start the class? I thought it's only for the family, I thought. He said, no, Prabhuji, 50 people are coming, he said. But where will they sit in your house? No, program is not inside the house, just outside the house. So then he put a chair outside. Then I saw people are all sitting just, it's like a village type of setting. Everybody sat, he just put some mat type of thing, people sat. So I was thinking, this family apparently appears very poor externally, but you look at the face, that in happiness, from happiness point of view, they are the richest people. They have abundant happiness. On the other hand, we have seen people, who have a very huge estate, big compound, lot of gardens all around, big house, lavish house with probably 30, 40 rooms, like that. And son has his room and daughter has her room, father has his room and mother has, they have separate bedroom, they have drawing room and dining table, swimming pool at the top, all these facilities. But in one of the houses, they said husband and wife didn't talk to each other for 4 years. One word also. And the father is also upset that the son doesn't listen to him. And the mother is upset the daughter has found her own partner in life. She's roaming with. So, and then none of them talk to each other, although they live in such a big house. So, they never dine together, although there's a big dining table sitting in the middle of the house. Yeah, everybody has their own TV in their rooms, watching their own TV, watching their own movie. They have their own cars. They live like loners in a very big bungalow, completely unhappy lives. Look at their faces, they were dead. There is no life on their face. So, that means, wealth alone cannot bring about happiness. On the other hand, we find a person not so wealthy, I told you the first family, how happy they were. That's why he's saying that even if you get the entirety of whatever there may be in the 3 worlds to satisfy your senses, if you are uncontrolled in your senses, you cannot be satisfied. So, what is it he'll explain here? Prabhupada says here, the mental world is an illusory energy to deviate the living entities from the path of self-realization. Anyone who is in this material world is extremely anxious to get more and more things for sense gratification. Actually, however, the purpose of life is not sense gratification but self-realization. Therefore, those who are too addicted to sense gratification are advised to practice the mystic yoga system or Ashtanga yoga system consisting of yama, niyama, pranayama and all those things. In this way, one can control the senses. The purpose of controlling the senses is to stop one's implication in the cycle of birth and death. As Lord Rishabhadev says, Nonam pramattak kurute vikarma yadindriya priti apranoti nasad manye yatatmanoyam asannapi kveshad ashadeha. When a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, he certainly becomes mad after materialistic living and engages in all kinds of sinful activity. He does not know that due to his past misdeeds, he has already received a body which, although temporary, is the cause of his misery. Actually, the living entity should not have taken the taken on a material body, but he has been awarded the material body for sense gratification. Therefore, I think it's not befitting an intelligent man to involve himself again in the activities of sense gratification, by which he perpetually gets material bodies one after another. Thus, according to Rishabhadev, the human beings in this material world are just like madmen, engaged in activities which they should not perform, but which they do perform only for sense gratification. Such activities are not good, because in this way one creates another body for his next life as a punishment for his nefarious activities. And as soon as he gets another material body, he is put into repeated suffering and material existence. Therefore, the Vedic culture, Brahminical culture teaches one how to be satisfied with possessing the minimum necessities in life. So, we are a pure spirit soul who is awarded with the mind and body. So, the more we keep our mind and body simple, to that degree you have energy, time, focus in spiritual life. And the more you are going to increase the demands of the mind and body, to that degree you will not have adequate time, energy, focus for spiritual life. For example, you know the story of the brahmachari who had a cow pen, and some rat was biting, so he got a cat. To maintain the cat, he got a cow. To maintain the cow, he got a servant. And the servant was not taking care of the cow well, he was cheating. So somebody suggested him get a wife. She will take care of it, and then he got a wife. And then because wife came, he had to have a kheti to develop the farm. And so he can get the grains and by tilling the land and everything. And then by the time Guruji came after 6 months, this disciple had become like a zamindar. With all those. That means here is the example of man increasing his material facilities and amenities and possessions. In this way, he got carried away by the material possessions maintenance, and he had no adequate time for spiritual sadhana. Correct, no? The sadhana took a back seat. It went for a toss. And all day, morning to night, he was super busy, increasing his possessions and maintaining the possessions. So this is for the body, we can say. Then, in the same manner, for the mind also, our mind cannot process too much. If you are going to put too many things in the head, then you will not get focus. There is one of the 64 items, Rupa Goswami says that Bahugrantha Kalabhyasaha, he says, Varje, that also he says, which means reading too many books or putting too much information of varieties of information into the head, then the head is not able to process. Sometimes in computer also we have experience. When you throw too much expectation from a computer and it gets overloaded, you've seen that? It just starts hanging. In the same manner, our head also, when you watch too many things, read too many things, put too much information, you get more confused than get clarity. So, therefore, you will see those who are Prabhupada disciples, they know little information from Prabhupada's morning walk, Prabhupada's conversations, Prabhupada's books. One of the nature of Prabhupada's purports is to have a finite number of concepts repeatedly explained with various examples and stories and analogies and day-to-day things happening in the world, but a few concepts only, but which are repeatedly emphasized. This is one nature of Prabhupada's purport. For example, Krishna is like the stomach and all the living entities are like the senses of the body. So all senses should serve the belly, everyone should water the root of the tree. So similarly one should serve Krishna. I'm just telling you one concept. And another concept, you are the spirit soul and material body and subtle body, material gross and subtle coverings are superfluous to the soul. This cannot, as the coverings are pain producing. And the soul's engagement in Krishna service is bliss producing. This is another concept repeatedly emphasized in Prabhupada. You'll find. And connect with Krishna, you will flourish. Disconnect from Krishna, you perish. This is another concept you will find many places like that. And any child in ISKCON, you ask what is the goal of life? They go back home, back to Godhead. That is emphasized in Prabhupada's purport so much, you will see that. And importance of morning program, importance of japa, properly doing japa, importance of outdoor sankirtana, going and doing book distribution and Harinam Sankirtan, Prasadam distribution. So you will see that repeatedly Prabhupada emphasizes this type of themes. Whatever may be the context, he has taken a few important concepts and there is a reason for that. Because in the centuries before, people were very, very advanced and developed in their consciousness. They could read the scriptures exhaustively and be able to be like a saragrahi, like a swan extracts the milk leaving the water, correct? And then they were able to take it and solidify and get their focus. But now we are very, very dull in this age because our buddhi has become very, very stula buddhi now because of onslaught of the social media, because of the onslaught of the modern day fast-paced civilization. So if you have to study exhaustively all the Puranas, Vedas, Upanishads, everything, and then draw out the principles and focus, it will be very difficult. So Prabhupada said, okay, I will do that homework for you. I will give you, this is it, these are the things that Vedas say, like Nana Shastra Vicharana Nipunau, Sadharma Samstapaka. So as a Samstapakacharya, he has given us, you focus on this, you will go back to Godhead. So that is one of the reasons why you find Prabhupada disciples who have faith in Prabhupada's Bhaktivedanta purports. They have faithfully have been sticking to Prabhupada, and then they feel a lot of ecstasy. I'm seeing them doing a lot of service. They have a lot of ecstasy, bliss, and they are very simple like a child. They are very straightforward in speech. They are not diplomatic, and they are peacefully engaged in devotional service, early morning to night, without any diversion, without any distraction. And anybody, any external person watching them from a distance can say that they are rightly situated in spiritual life. They are going for Sankirtana. I'm going to America, many places. Very, very old disciples of Prabhupada come and dance in the Sankirtan. They take part in singing, playing harmonium, and also giving classes, studying Prabhupada purports faithfully. So they are very focused. On the other hand, if, as he says here, that if you are going to focus on sense gratification, there are two roads: sense gratification, self-realization. Human life is for which one? Self-realization. And the animal life is for sense gratification. So if one wants sense gratification and goes on increasing the sense and gratification, the senses, the more you satisfy them, the more they increase the demands. It's like pouring petrol in fire. Like Krishna says, dushpurena analena cha, he says. Anal means fire. In fire you put petrol, is it going to reduce or increase? It's going to increase. That's why Hiranyakashipu had the whole universe at his disposal, still he was not satisfied. His expectations went on increasing. So Prabhupada is saying in this way, the Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, it is to train one to control the senses and be content with the bare necessities. Why do we have voice centers? Why do we have Brahmacharya Ashrama? The goal is to train the boys to control the senses and learn to be content with the bare necessities, he says. That means use minimum material needs and be happy with that and not increase the material needs. Anybody will have experience. If you sleep in a soft bed, you get addicted to that. Then tomorrow, if you have to sleep on a plain chatai somewhere, you will be cursing everybody. You won't be happy. Similarly, eat simple food, rice, dal, sabji, chapati. Once in a while you are given some sweet, you will be very gratefully accepting it. Daily you eat sweet. Abundant opulent food. Luchi, chini, puri, bali, we say. Eat very, very opulent foods daily. And then senses go wild. Senses become strong. And when boys suffer from various troubles due to eating too much sweet. So in this way you will find, then you get a normal food, rice or chapati, you will criticize that. You will curse it. That means opulent eating agitates the tongue, overeating agitates the belly, and in this way we suffer from lack of focus in spiritual life by that. So here he is saying that learn to be happy with bare necessities and be contented. So our centers are like ashramas, where boys have one living room where they keep their lockers and everything, and then they sleep in the hall. They Just put one foam, put one chatai and sleep, very simple. And rise early in the morning, take bath. The focus is spiritual life. Focus is not material comfort. I remember one boy was telling, after he got a job, he said, Prabhu, instead of living in the center with the devotees, my parents have suggested me to take my own flat. I can stay in my own flat. So he took a flat right next to the boy center. I was living in the flat. He was just 22 or 23. And then once he got the flat, he could not come for the morning program. It was difficult because it was a comfortable bed and a big bungalow it is. Parents said, you take that and live happily. So ashrama is a place where everybody gets up in the morning at any cost. So one should be happy with bare necessities. Here Lord Vamadev, as an ideal brahmachari, refuses Bali Maharaja's offer to give him anything he might want. He says that without contentment, one could not be happy even if he possessed the property of the entire world or the entire universe. In human society, therefore, the Brahminical culture, Kshatriya culture, Vaishya culture must be maintained, and people must be taught how to be satisfied with only what they need. In modern civilization, there is no such education. Everyone tries to possess more and more, and everyone is dissatisfied and happy. In my travels in the West, one house, they took me to the garage. I saw they had teddy bears from this size to almost 8 or 10 teddy bears. And the biggest teddy bear was bigger than me also. It was taller than me and big, heftier than me. I asked, my Lord, how you have so many toys here? Yes, Prabhu, for my son's birthday, many people come and give gifts. So many gifts come, we don't know where to keep, so we have got a whole garage of gifts. They're opening. So now we have taken a bigger house so we can stock more now. And then there's no maintenance. One day you have to maintain it also again. So, in modern, that's what Prabhupada is saying. In modern, there's no such education. Everyone tries to possess more and more, and everyone is dissatisfied and unhappy. Like you get new model machines, and the old model is remaining in your house, and then you get a new model, and then you cannot maintain it. The Krishna conscious movement is therefore establishing various forms, especially in America, to show how to be happy and content with minimum necessities of life and to save time for self-realization, which one can very easily achieve. How do you save time? For example, you want to make a house in a farm, it is just 5 lakh rupees or something. If you want to make a house in a city, it's 70, 80 lakhs to get a flat. So, and more the money you have to spend, the more the money you have to earn. Without running, how will they spend? And the more the money you have to earn, you have to spend more time right now and energy. Your time and energy goes in making money, and making money helps you to build a house, but then there is no time for Krishna consciousness. But if one goes to a farm, he says that you just make a small hut and 5 lakh rupees, something like that, in your life savings, and then you just eat khichdi, and then morning, afternoon, evening, you study Ramayana, Mahabharata, Gita, Bhagavad, everything, and go back to Godhead. That's his point. Yeah. Trivikramai rasantushto Dvipenapi na puryate Navavarsha sametena Saptadvipa varechaya. I want to read it. Where's the mic? If I were not satisfied with the 3 pieces of land, then surely I would not be satisfied even with possessing one of the 7 islands consisting of 9 varshas. Even if I possessed one island, I would hope to get others, which basically is telling the nature of increasing desires. If I have a cycle, I want a bike. If I have a bike, I want a car. If I have a car, I want a bigger car, a foreign car or something. If I have a foreign car, I want a chartered plane or something. In this way, we go on increasing our desires. That's the point he's making here. And then it is going on like this. And this is important verse here. Yadrichyopapanena santushto vartate sukham na santushtas divirlokair ajitatmopasajtaihi. Yeah.
One should be satisfied with whatever he achieves by his previous destiny. For discontent can never bring happiness. A person who is not self-controlled will not be happy, even with possessing the 3 worlds.
Even if it's the 3 worlds, you won't be happy. Read that purport.
If happiness is the ultimate goal of life, one must be satisfied with the position in which he is placed by Providence. This instruction is also given by Prahlad Maharaj.
Sukam mahendrikam daitya deha yogena dehinam sarvatra labhyate daivat yata duktam ayatnataha.
My dear friends, born of demonic families, the happiness perceived with the reference to the sense object by contact with the body can be obtained in any form of life, according to one's past productive activities. Such happiness is automatically obtained without endeavor. Just as we obtain distress, this philosophy is perfect in regard to obtaining happiness. Real happiness is described in Bhagavad Gita 6:21. Sukham atyantikam yattat buddhigrahayam atindriyam veti yatra na chaivayam sthitas chalati tatvatah. In the spiritually joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness and enjoys himself through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth. One has to perceive happiness by the
super senses.
The super senses are not the senses of the material elements. Every one of us is a spiritual being, Aham Brahmasmi. And every one of us is an individual person. Our senses are now covered by material elements, and because of ignorance, we consider the material senses and that cover us to be our real senses. The real senses, however, are within the material covering. Dehinosmin yatha dehe. Within the covering of the material elements are the spiritual senses. Sarvapadhi vedamuktam tatparattvena nirmalam. When the spiritual senses are uncovered by these senses, we can be happy. Satisfaction of the spiritual senses is thus described. Rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti uchyate. When the senses are engaged in devotional service to Rishikesha, then the senses are completely satisfied. Without this superior knowledge of the sense gratification, one may try to satisfy his material senses, but happiness will never be possible. One may increase his ambition for sense gratification and even achieve what he desires for the gratification of the senses. But because this is on the material platform, he will never achieve satisfaction and contentment. According to Brahminical culture, one should be content with whatever he obtains without special endeavor and should cultivate spiritual consciousness.
See, one word provision, without special endeavor, he says. Endeavor is all right, but not special endeavor. So what is the difference between endeavor and special endeavor? See, somebody works for 9 hours a day. So whatever comes to you is your quota that Lord has allotted for you. But special endeavor is working 14 hours, 16 hours, that's special endeavor. One doesn't put in material life purposes. Instead, one devotes time to spiritual consciousness. Yeah.
Then he will be happy. The purpose of Krishna consciousness movement is to spread this understanding. People who do not have scientific spiritual knowledge mistakenly think that the members of Krishna consciousness movement are escapists trying to avoid material activities. In fact, however, we are engaged in real activities for obtaining the ultimate happiness in life. If one is not trained to satisfy the spiritual senses and continues in material sense gratification, he will never obtain happiness that is eternal and blissful. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:5:1 therefore recommends
Tapodivyam putraga yena sattam shuddhyate asmat brahma sakyam tu anantam.
One must practice austerity so that his existential position will be purified and he will achieve unlimited blissful life.
Yeah. See, there are two bank accounts you have. One is a very safe account, it's a government account. And it may give you just 8% or 7 or 8% it may give you. But if you put in that bank account, say for about next 30 years or something like that, by the time you retire, they'll give you a bulk amount back. Not only, now you get a small interest apparently, but the post-retirement benefits are enormous. At the time of retirement, you get like 40, 50 lakhs you will get. Plus the amount you saved in the bank will remain as it is. Say, I'm just giving an example. It's like that. On the other hand, there is another account bank gives you 24%. But it is a Diwala bank. It can go Diwala. But so whatever salary you are earning, imagine if you are putting in the Diwala bank, it appears to be very attractive. It gives returns also very nicely, 24%. But suddenly in 2 years you find the bank is closed down and the owner has run away somewhere. Absconding, it's a bankrupt. So all your money is lost. So our material body is like the Diwala bank, and the spirit soul is like the safe bank with great returns. You understand the difference, no? So where do you think most of the world is investing their money? The Diwala bank, which is material body. That's what Prabhupada is saying here. Material body with its senses, people are trying to pamper it, satisfy it. It's like taking gulab jamun and putting it in the packets here, or rubbing the shirt with a gulab jamun. That's not going to satisfy you. Gulab jamun will satisfy if you put in the mouth. In the same manner, rubbing, Prabhupada says the material body is like the fiber in nariyal, coconut, or the shell inside. So, neither the fiber nor the shell can satisfy anybody. Both are meant to be put in the fire. But the coconut and the coconut water will satisfy you. And the coconut is like the soul. Coconut water is like Krishna Prem. So, coconut and coconut water. That is what is the soul and the love of God. Like. So, any intelligent person will cut the coconut, throw away the fiber and everything, shell, and take the coconut. He knows the essence in the coconut. So that is spiritual life. Spiritual life means go to the essence. Don't be stuck. Imagine a dog got a nariyal and he is not giving to anybody to open it. He himself keeps biting the outside. Like that he is trying to bite the fiber. And the more he bites the fiber, the brown fiber is becoming powdered and then it is drying his mouth. He is not able to enjoy the coconut, which is inside. Similarly, most of the world is trying to enjoy the superficial senses. And because of which they are frustrated, depressed, worried, and anxiety, competing foolishly. That's what he's saying. Yeah. Pumsoyam samsriter hetur asantoshodagamayoho adrichayopapannena santosho muktaye smritaha. Yeah.
Material existence causes discontent in regard to fulfill one's lusty desires and achieving more and more money. This is the cause for the continuation of material life, which is full of repeated birth and death. But one who is satisfied by that which is obtained by destiny is fit for liberation from this material existence.
Yeah. So two things he's saying. One should be satisfied. One is lusty for achieving more and more money. That causes continuation of material life and repeated birth and death and suffering. But one is accepting whatever comes by destiny and then focuses on spiritual life. Then he gets freedom, like a bird is released from the cage. He gets freedom. Tadvichalabhasushtasya tejo viprasya vardhate tat prashamyatya santoshat ambaseva shushukshanaihi.
A Brahmana who is satisfied with whatever is providentially obtained is increasingly enlightened with spiritual power, but the spiritual potency of a dissatisfied Brahmana decreases as fire diminishes in potency when water is sprinkled upon it.
So two Brahmanas. One Brahmana, providentially, whatever food, whatever little accommodation, whatever facilities are provided for him, he accepts that and he focuses on study of the Shastra, rising in the morning, chanting of the holy name, worshipping the deities, preaching the message of the Lord, distributing the holy name. He is satisfied in those things. His spiritual power keeps increasing more and more. He becomes enlightened, he becomes happy, tejo viprasya vardhate, he says. The teja increases. Teja of that Brahmana increases. On the other hand, the spiritual potency of a dissatisfied Brahmana who tries to increase his material comforts and facilities. I have seen this with my own eyes in ISKCON society. There were some simple brahmacharis who joined ISKCON. In the early days, they were very simple brahmacharis. Yellow brigade, and then gradually they took white, they shaved up and they joined some departments. And eventually they started having a bank account for their department. They got their car for their department. They started activities for their departments. And over a period of time, when more money came, more freedom also for using the money, and then some property, it may be in ISKCON name, but it is also under them. It can happen like that. And then in this way, over a period of time, when that's increasing, with the increasing freedom, competition with other devotees and accumulating more money, my department, your department, my money, your money. Who are you to control me? I brought this money. I am. So in this way, aham mameti, we say, that kind of thing came, and over a period of time, sometimes they started spending in luxurious facilities, and sometimes in the YouTube or in news items, you hear about some corrupt devotees in ISKCON, correct, no? News comes, sometimes you all will be shocked. ISKCON is such a good society, so many nice devotees are there. But we are also hearing somebody who is meddling with some woman, or meddling with money, or meddling with some property, taking in his name, or doing something independent of what parampara acharyas will want him to do. So when you hear these things, you may be shocked. But it is a reality that even in our religious movement also, people initially may be simple, but eventually they can develop ulterior material motives for a period of time. So the karma, jnana, yoga, the three things. The karma impurity means increasing your proprietorship, increasing possessions. And jnana means reading too many books and becoming more like a self-help motivational speaker, and not focusing on the truth that Shastras teach. You may read a lot of books. Some of them get into reading different Siddhanta, Advaita Siddhanta, Advaita, Vishtadvaita and everything. And sometimes they start quoting even outside what Prabhupada taught from Satyanarayana Das Babaji. People quote, so many deviant books, which is actually now prohibited by ISKCON, because there are people like that who even offend Prabhupada, and people followers of Prabhupada refer to those books. You can see that. So they do not know, because of the jnana tendency. There is a tendency, some people's jnana is like an elephant who wants more and more. Read this, read that. They want to become very, very scholarly, and they lose the simplicity of a devotee. They become screwed up in their head. You will never find them in the morning program, chanting with devotees, dancing, going out on Harinam, taking prasad with devotees and distributing Prabhupada books. These are straightforward activities Prabhupada gave. They will not do that because their heart is not here. Their heart is for simply becoming like a big elephant in their head. Big head and small body. It's like that. And karmi people means, karmi mentality means proprietorship. They want to possess more land and big temple and big bank balance, big fame, touch with politicians and touch with the big business magnates, and then becoming very popular. But it's not wrong to do all these things, provided you are rooted in your sadhana. If one is rooted in the morning program and sadhana and faithful, for the matter, even as well as Gopaksha Maharaj, he was in touch with some of the biggest business magnates in the country. But if you see his personal life, how he does his Gayatri, how he does the worship of his deity, and how he speaks on the Chaitanya Charitamrita pastimes and everything, how he kept his spiritual personality at the time of leaving the world, what type of will he wrote. He said, I don't have anything in my name. Everything belongs to Prabhupada, connecting everyone to Prabhupada. So if one is not, like we say, if a machine is not earthed, earthing, what it will do if it is not earthed, when you touch it, what happens? You get a shock. If there is earthing, then there is no shock. Similarly, if a person is not, earthing means rooted in the philosophy and the practices, then there is no shock. Otherwise, people give shock to everybody in the society. They do activities which give shock. My Lord, he is dealing with a woman like this. He is dealing with money like this. Everybody gets shocked when they see their activities. That is the whole problem. Because these guys don't want to work under any authority. They want to be independent, do something of their own. So this is good. And similarly, the yoga tendency means control. There is a tendency for desiring to become boss on a boss. Control. They want to control everybody, but they don't want to be under anybody's control. That's a very amazing logic they have. They say everybody, they will say that if you don't work under me, you will go to hell and things like that. Huh? But they themselves won't work under anybody. Because the tendency of a yogi means like Vishwamitra is a representative of he is creating Trishanku Sarga. He is meddling with Menaka and Ramba. With Ramba he became angry. With Menaka he became lusty. With Trishanku he became proud. So lust, anger, pride, everything. And he is not under anybody. And he wants to control everybody, including Vasishtha also he wants to control. Everybody should be in my grip. That kind of controlling tendency is a yogi tendency. So possessing tendency, and enjoying tendency, a controlling tendency. So these are no good for sadhus. So on the other hand, if a sadhu is very simple and focused in spiritual goals, then he will become filled with enlightenment and spiritual power. On the other hand, the other sadhus who are dissatisfied brahmanas, you sprinkle water in a firewood, it will give out smoke. Like that, there will be no true spiritual strength. So these are some of the verses. After saying this, he asked for only 3 steps. So now I'll show you another one. Let's look at this one. This was in the Vena section. That is one important thing. So behavior of Vena is also important. Yeah, what Vena spoke, that hear that also. Okay, let us start from here. First, the Brahmanas are saying this. The Brahmanas are very nicely speaking. The Brahmanas, you all know that Vena was a very arrogant fellow. So they went to Vena and concealing their anger, they spoke to him very politely. How they speak, you can see. The Brahmanas, how mature they are. So they are telling King Vena that basically they are telling Vena that you should do your spiritual duty and not neglect it. That is the first thing they are saying. The great sages they are saying. Please read it.
Dear King, we have come to give you good advice. Kindly hear us with great attention. By doing so, your duration of life and your opulence, strength and reputation will increase.
Yeah, they are giving him a clue. If you follow our good advice, your Ayush will increase, Aishwarya will increase, Bal will increase, Yash will increase. All these things will increase if you follow our advice. Dharma acharita pumsam vangmana kaya buddhivihi lokan vishokan vedanati atanantyam asanginam.
Those who live according to religious principles and who follow them by words, mind, body, and intelligence are elevated to the heavenly kingdom, which is devoid of all miseries. Being thus rid of the material influence, they achieve unlimited happiness in life.
Yeah, if you follow religious principles, you will be happy now and you will be happy in future also. They are saying. Yeah.
The sages continued, O great hero, for this reason you should not be the cause of spoiling the spiritual life of the general populace. If their spiritual life is spoiled because of your activities, you will certainly fall down from your opulent and royal position.
Yeah. If you are going to neglect your praja or misguide your praja, then if their spiritual life is spoiled, then you also will fall in, because 1/6 of the karma will come to the king. Yeah, read it.
The saintly persons continued, when the king protects the citizen from the disturbances of mischievous ministers as well as from thieves and rogues, he can, by virtue of such pious activities, accept taxes given by his subjects. Thus, a pious king can certainly enjoy himself in this world as well as in the life after death.
For example, as senior devotees, we receive the obeisances of so many devotees. You have the right to receive the obeisances provided you give them knowledge in return. So they are giving the tax of obeisances and we are giving them our tax of knowledge to them. But without giving knowledge, those who take the role of gurus and collect donations and they are receiving the obeisances, then they become afflicted by sin. You understand? Huh? See, the Vedas are so subtle that if you are receiving some favor from somebody, you become obliged to give them something in return also. So a king who is accepting salute and bowing of so many citizens, he has to protect the citizens, he has to create welfare for the citizens, and he has to administrate them and protect, keep the thieves and rogues under control, all that he has to do. And he has to arrange for their spiritual advancement also. Yeah, think that?
The king is supposed to be pious in whose state and cities the general populace strictly observe the system of 8 orders of Varna and Ashram, and where all citizens engage in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead by their particular occupation.
Correct, no? That means Varna and Ashram division is important, and people, brahmacharis, they all follow their duties perfectly, then it's a very happy country. You're saying. Yeah?
O noble one, if the king sees that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original cause of the cosmic manifestation and super soul within everyone, is worshipped, the Lord will be satisfied.
King should bring all the citizens, perform big yajnas, everybody takes part in it, the Lord's names are glorified, and then big feast is arranged, the kirtan is performed, brahmanas are duly given dakshina, everything. Then such a country will flourish, they are saying. Yeah.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped by the great demigods, controllers of the universal affairs. When he is satisfied, nothing is impossible to achieve. For this reason, all the demigods, presiding deities of the different planets, as well as the inhabitants of their planets, take great pleasure in offering all kinds of paraphernalia for his worship.
Yeah. That means everything in this world should be used for Lord's pleasure. Like that, they are honestly preaching the truth. Now you see what that fellow is going to say now. Okay, in this way they are going on. And then don't stop the sacrificial performances. If you stop them, you will disrespect the demigods, they are saying. Now Vena uvacha. Balishapata yuyam va adharme dharmamaninaha ye vrittidam patim hitva jaram patim upasate. He's saying, Balishapata yuyam va. Hey, you guys are like kids. You are like children, he's telling the Brahmins. Adharme dharmamaninaha. You guys are considering adharma to be dharma. Ye vrittidam patim hitva. I am the pati who gives vritti. I am giving you profession and salary for all the people in my kingdom. Hitva, you are giving up worship of me. And jaram patim upasate. And you are worshipping it's like a wife going to another man. You are giving up my worship and worshipping demigods. You say, I think you are giving up your real husband who maintains you and you are searching after some paramour to worship. Sab meri puja karo, he is saying. It is regrettable that you are maintaining something which is not religious, like that he is saying. So he was foolish and he accused saintly persons of being inexperienced like small children. He rejected their advice, he didn't hear it. Avajananti ami mudha nriparupinam ishwaram nanu vindanti te bhadram ihaloke paratracha. Looks like a 9.11. See, when Krishna says Avajananti ami mudha, he is God saying it. So he is repeating that similar verse, Avajanate Ami Muda. Those who do not know that the dripper, God has come in the form of a king, which is me. Na anuvindanti te badram. If one does not work for the pleasure of the king, then one loses happiness in this world and the next. Like that he is speaking. Yeah, read it.
Those who out of gross ignorance do not worship the king, who is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, experience happiness neither in this world nor in the world after death.
Yeah. Yeah, read it.
You are so much devoted to the demigods, but who are they? Indeed, your affection for the demigods is exactly like the affection of an unchaste woman who neglects her married life and gives all attention to her paramour. Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Indra, Vayu, the master of air, Yama, the superintendent of death, the sun god, the director of rainfall, Kuvera, the treasurer, the moon god, the predominating deity of the earth, Agni, the fire god, Varuna, the lord of waters, and all other who are great and competent to bestow benedictions or to curse, all abide in the body of the king. For this reason, the king is known as the reservoir of all the demigods, who are simply parts and parcels of king's body.
As it is speaking. You see, he is misapplying the Shastra. See, the Shastra say, Matrudeva Bhava, Pitrudeva Bhava, Atiti Deva Bhava, they say, no? Atiti should be treated like God. Mother should be treated like God. Father should be treated like... The king also is called Naradev. Naradev, Dev means Lord. Naradev means the Lord is sending his love and care for us through the agency of a king. He is the agent of the Lord. But this fellow is saying, because the king is the agent of the Lord, he himself should be treated as the Lord. See, that is also not wrong in one sense. We say, like Sakshat Haritvena. But can the king use that word to say that I am supposed to be worshipped like that? So he is claimed to be God and all demigods are his part and parcels. So he in this way became very arrogant, completely arrogant. Like sometimes a counselor or a leader or an authority may tell his people, क्या तुम ऐसा करते हो? तुम्हारा initiation रोक दूंगा. Like that he said, अबे 10 साल के लिए तुमको नहीं मिलेगा initiation. So that devotee came and told me, प्रभु जी इतना बड़बड़ करता है, ये बोलता है कि इसको लगता है कि दीक्षा यही दीक्षा गुरु है. He speaks as if he is only दीक्षा गुरु. He can control my life. He said, I want to change this counselor. I want to leave this fellow and go to another person who is more level-headed, not so proud. One devotee came and told me like that. So we should be careful. Just because somebody is junior, it's not that we can say whatever we want. So arrogance is arrogance, committing aparads, false pride. These are not appreciated. Actually, it is true that people should worship superior as good as God. But we cannot claim, because Shastra says superior is as good as God, I am also like God only. Treat me like God. You can't say that. See, Prabhupada says here. Read that purport. Very small purport, important.
There are many demons who think of themselves as the supreme and present themselves as the directors of sun, moon and other planets. This is all due to false pride. Similarly, King Vena developed the demonic mentality and presented himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such demons are numerous in this age of Kali, and all of them are condemned by the great sages and saintly persons.
Yeah.
King Vena continued, for this reason, O Brahmanas, you should abandon your envy of me, and by your ritualistic activities, you should worship me and offer me all paraphernalia. If you are intelligent, you should know that there is no personality superior to me who can accept the first oblation of all sacrifices.
See how he is speaking,
As stated by Krishna himself throughout Bhagavad Gita, there is no truth superior to him. King Vena was imitating the Supreme Personality of Godhead and was also speaking out of false pride, presenting himself as the Supreme Lord. These are all characteristics of a demoniac person.
Maitreya uvacha. Ittam vipraryamatihi. Papiyan utpatam gataha. Anuniyamanas tadyajñam. Achakre brashtamangalaha. Yeah.
The great sage Maitreya continued, thus the king, who became unintelligent due to his sinful life and deviation from the right path, became actually bereft of all good fortune. He could not accept the request of the great sages, which the sages put before him with a great respect, and therefore he was condemned.
Yeah.
My dear Vidura, all good fortune unto you. The foolish king, who thought himself very learned, thus insulted the great sages, and the sages, being broken-hearted by king's words, became very angry at him.
Hanyadam esha. Papaha prakriti darunaha. Jivan jagad asavashu. Kurte bhaspasa dhruvam.
All the great saintly sages immediately cried, kill him, kill him. He is the most dreadful, sinful person. If he lives, he will certainly turn the whole world into ashes in no time.
Read the purpose.
Saintly persons are generally very kind to all kinds of living entities, but they are not unhappy. They are not unhappy when a serpent or a scorpion is killed. It is not good for saintly person to kill, but they are encouraged to kill demons who are exactly like serpents and scorpions. Therefore, all the saintly sages decided to kill Vena, who was so dreadful and dangerous to all human society. We can appreciate the extent to which the saintly sages actually controlled the king. If the king or government becomes demoniac, it is the duty of a saintly person to upset the government and replace it with deserving persons who follow the orders and instructions of saintly persons.
Like Chanakya saw, there was a king called Nanda who was an atrocious fellow, who was indulging in all kinds of erratic activities. And he also insulted Chanakya also. In his Sabha, Chanakya released his Shika and took a shapath and said, I will overturn you. Wait and watch, one day you will be dethroned. And the king laughed. You insignificant poor Brahman, what can you do? Get lost from here, he said. And then Chanakya left the palace. But then he was looking for a capable guy. And then one day, while walking in the pathway in the forest in one village, he saw there was one thorny twig protruding from the ground, and it hurt his feet. So he tried to pull it out. It was very difficult. So he was looking for some buttermilk so that he can put it in the root and he can twist it, and he was asking people. So many people are passing by. They said, we don't have it. So, and most people told, why do you bother about this to remove it? You just go ahead. But one young boy who was coming in the forest that way, he asked Chanakya, why are you trying to remove it? Chanakya said, because it is coming in the way. It hurt my feet. I want to make sure it is removed. But if it hurt your feet, now you can be careful while walking. Why don't you leave it and go ahead? He said, what about the other people who are passing in the same road? It is going to hurt them. So I want to make sure it is removed. And the boy appreciated, and he arranged for him to remove that. And then Chanakya called this boy, come with me. You understood, none of these fellows understood. You understood what I am trying to do. Not only I want the thorn to be removed from my way, I want it to be removed from everyone's way. And then this boy became Chandragupta Maurya later on. He took this boy and developed him, trained him in all different skills and arts and everything. And then he made him the leader and then gathered the whole country. And then he dethroned the king. And then came the golden age of Guptas after that, right now. So here comes a point, like if government is atrocious, one has to overturn it and then establish a true kingdom, it is said. So here the question may arise in all of your minds. There are so many atrocious kingdoms. Now what is happening in Bangladesh, for example? Now, say there are some atrocious people who are trying to, ill-treat the minorities by beating them with sticks up to the point of killing them. looting their fields, and taking away their bank balances, not letting them live in peace. There was 28% or something Hindus in those previous years. Now it has come to 8% now. They want to make this 8% to 0% or something like that. So now the government is very atrocious. So one of the now Chinmay Krishna Prabhu or somebody, he actually was engaging in activities, bringing Hindus together and raising a voice. And therefore ISKCON actually did not appreciate that. They said, our Goswamis did do this. If you see Rup Sanatan and all, they were even ready to be Sakar Malik Dabirkas, work in the palace of Nawazuddin Shah and go on with their bhajan. And some Goswamis were so well behaved that they could even build temples in the reign of Muslims also. Like Man Singh built a temple, Radha Govind Mandir, like that. And they were in the Mughal rule only. Even the Mughal kings gave permissions and sanctions for building Hindu temples. We may say that they are demolishing so many temples, but the treatment of the Goswamis with dealing with the Mughal kings were such that, like we said, Dhira, Dhira Jana, Priya. They could not only survive, they could practice, they could preach also to the Hindus and go on. For that matter, Lord Chaitanya made even Pathan Muslims also into devotees. So in this way, in certain places there are dialogues between Vaishnavas and Muslims also, but life has been going on. So should somebody in a Vaishnava community take lead in overthrowing the government and doing like that? So when Chinmay Krishna Prabhu pulled out of ISKCON, and he became an ex-ISKCON devotee and a social activist. So then he gathered all the Hindus, something like 1 lakh or 2 lakh Hindus, and some 25,000-30,000 of them went to Dhaka, and they made a protest march with fire torches and everything. So that aggravated the Kattarpanthi Muslims very much. And they said, hey, this fellow is they thought he is ISKCON devotee, still he is in monk's dress, wearing tilak and everything. They said, oh, we have to finish this fellows, because this one Bhakti Prem Maharaj also says that in Bangladesh, the strength of the Hindus comes from ISKCON devotees. Because ISKCON actually is a very active missionary movement. So the Hindus get a lot of support and encouragement in their religious practices by the ISKCON's presence. So ISKCON was going on. Many of the brahmacharis who come to receive me whenever I would go to Bangladesh, I've been going for 5 years, 1 week every year. So they used to come in saffron. I used to cover my saffron with a pant shirt and go. Because you have to follow the codes of the country, correct now? They expect you to be in pant shirt, so we wear pant shirt. But they told me, no, Prabhuji, nowadays they're quite liberal. We move around in saffron, no problem. They're friendly, many of them are friendly. So that means the devotees have cultivated a good relationship with the people, and they're minority also. You can see it's only 8% of the total lot. It is better for us to learn to coexist rather than dethrone the government and try to bring somebody of your choice. It's not very easy to do in such a place. But now, because of this kind of move made by Chinmay Krishna Prabhu and Hindu organizations, now suddenly the Muslims are thinking that these people are very political. They may even make our state vulnerable. If they make our state internally not cohesive, vulnerable, then Muslims cannot stay together. They create kind of instability. So therefore, they want to wipe out. They say, ISKCON should be driven out, ISKCON cannot exist, which is a very great misfortune for the whole of Bangladesh. Hindu people left Afghanistan and came, Pakistan and came to India. But Bangladesh also, they come. We have a lot of acharyas, homes are there, samadhis are there, which is very important. So therefore it is said, if you are in a glass bungalow, don't throw stones, correct? No? At others it is said, because then you are at a greater danger. Others hits the big stones on your glass bungalow, everything will break. So therefore these are all very delicate decisions to be made under the guidance of GBCs like His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj, Yudhishthira Prabhu, ISKCON Communications. Without consulting such big personalities, one should not get into a kind of roll up your sleeves and get into a political rage. Correct, now? So one has to, even if you are angry or upset about the things, even in India, people are asking, why are we keeping quiet? Why are we not going on, protest march and everything? You can jump up and down, but you can't enter the country. Correct, now? There. You can only jump here. And the more you do protest march, the Bangladesh Katarpanthis and others, they become more aggravated. And they become aggravated, then they want to torture the minorities even more. Is it good? So therefore, we have been told by the ISKCON communications character is Prabhu that we should do kirtans indoors, and that is more in a mood of prayer for their protection, rather than a protest march which is in aggression, which is an aggressive, because we can't do anything. And Bangladesh leaders are saying, you mind your own business, India, you don't disturb us. So it's going on. The idea is, in the Vedic times, the Brahmanas were extremely powerful. They are the ones who elected the king. But now the king is not elected by Brahmins. Prabhupada is elected by the mass of people, which is called like democracy, we say. No? Prabhupada said democracy means what? A government by the Shudras, for the Shudras, of the Shudras, he said. Because majority of the people are Shudras. If you take 1,000 lot of people, in that 900 Shudras, 90 Vaishyas, and 9 Kshatriyas, and 1 Brahmana. That is the makeup of Vedic society. 1 Brahman, 9 Kshatriya, 90 Vaishya, 900 Shudra. So, who is majority? Shudras. So, what they want? They want drinks, they want movie theaters, they want tobacco, they want cigarettes, they want eat, drink and be merry. So, then they may also, they are likely to elect somebody like that. So it's not a very easy thing. In the Vedic times, the Brahmanas are the ones who elect the king, leader. So here the Brahmanas were powerful enough to enthrone the king and dethrone the king. Therefore they are saying, Nayam marhati asadbritto naradeva varasanam yodi yajnapatim vishnum vinindati anapatrapaha. Yeah.
The sentences continue. This impious, impudent man does not deserve to sit on the throne at all. He is so shameless that he even dared insult the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu.
Yeah.
But for King Vena, who is simply inauspicious, who would blaspheme the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by whose mercy one is awarded all kinds of fortune and opulence.
They are talking.
The great sages, thus manifesting their covert anger, immediately decided to kill the king. King Vena was already as good as dead due to his blasphemy against the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, without using any weapons, the sages killed King Vena simply by high-sounding words.
Ittam japasitahantum riyo rudamanyavaha nijagnur hunkrutair venam hatam achyuta nindaya. Like that they say. What they say? That's all, that fellow died. So, when Brahmanas are dissatisfied, like that they say, immediately that fellow dies. They do not use any weapons also.
After all the sages returned to their...
Okay, then that further thing. So here, there is another. When they are sitting in the bank of the river, they were talking about the transcendental person and his pastimes. Peacefully they were having Krishna Katha now. That time what happened? Suddenly they saw this. The various disturbances in the country, because the king is gone now. Since the king is dead, no protector in the world. Now everywhere they heard now sounds and everything. And they're carrying on discussion this way. A dust storm arose in all directions, caused by the thieves and rogues who are plundering the citizens. So, upon seeing the dust storm, the saintly persons could understand that there was a great deal of irregularities due to the death of King Vena. Without a government, without any law and order, the thieves and rogues are plundering the riches. That's happening in Bangladesh now, correct now? People are being beaten up and people's houses are vandalized. money is being looted, women are being raped, and things like that are happening because the government right now is very vulnerable now. Sheikh Hasina has gone, and then Yunus Ji is posted temporarily now. And the only thing that is protecting ISKCON temples now is the military. Military power is posted in the city temples, whereas in the village, small temples and all, there is not much protection. And people have left the small temples, taking their deities, they're hiding somewhere in some home, and people are coming and vandalizing those temples and all. So, because there is no king in control, one who is, although the great sages could subdue the disturbances by their powers, just as they could kill the king, they considered it improper on their part to do so. Thus, they did not attempt to stop the disturbance. They thought that king should come now. Here it comes here. Read this, very important. This is the verse is important. Read this. Brahmanastha madrikshanto dīrānām samupekṣakah sravate brahmatasyāpi ninnavāndāt payo yatha. Yeah.
The great sages began to think that although a Brahmana is peaceful and impartial because he is equal to everyone, it is still not his duty to neglect poor humans. By such neglect, a Brahmana's spiritual power diminishes, just as water kept in a cracked pot leaks out.
Here comes the complacency. Complacency, how do you define complacency? Complacency means somewhat a kind of attitude of self-satisfaction, without making any endeavors, which leads to stagnation in spiritual life. So, for example, sometimes you have become a senior devotee, you passed out or final year and things like that, and you may say, I am an advanced devotee, I don't need to follow the morning program. Some people say like that. So one thinks I am all right. What is the need for? It's all for kids. Those who are newly come, they have to attend all the programs. We are senior, we have to have a meeting in the room. Mangalarti, let it go on, we will have a meeting for how to preach and expand. Okay, you make a plan to preach and expand, but the devotees will become weak and they will go away. So you keep bringing new people and the old people will keep going out. So complacency means spiritual stagnation. That means not focusing on improving one's spiritual life and growing in spiritual life, not reading, not hearing, not growing, and simply becoming stagnated like a stinking gutter. A gutter which doesn't move, which is stagnated, becomes a stinking gutter, correct? No? So a devotee can become like that if one is careless. Just like in a forest pathway, if you keep walking, the road is available. Otherwise, it gets covered over by grass, just like the beards and mustache grows like that. So if a Brahmana neglects his spiritual activities, his power will diminish, like water kept in a cracked pot leaks out. So you have knowledge which is like the water in a pot. But if there is a crack, little go away. But it should be distributed. Then you take more water, then you distribute, then you take more water. Otherwise, you keep the pot somewhere, it leaks out, there's nothing inside. Just like a lamp, one Damodar lamp you take, you can light up 1,000 lamps. You can also have the light and others can also have the light. Knowledge is like that. Jnana Deepam. So if you become complacent and satisfied, anyway, now I am chanting 16 rounds, I am initiated now, I am all right now, I'll take care of myself. That type of complacent attitude is going to stagnate you. So the Brahmanas thought, although we are impartial and peaceful, but the whole society is burning now, we have to do something for the society. They thought like that. So here Prabhupada says, yeah. Okay. In the Bhagavad Gita also, Lord Krishna talks about two verses we will recite and I will conclude the talk, okay? Natyashnatastu yogosti nachaikantam anashnatah chati swapnashilasya jagrato naivacharjuna.
There is no possibility of one's becoming a yogi, O Arjun, if one eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or does not sleep enough.
Prabhupada says purport.
Regulation of diet and sleep is recommended herein for the yogis. Too much eating means eating more than is required to keep the body and soul together. There is no need for men to eat animals.
And then Baba talks about animal food should be given up. Similarly, then he says, therefore, those who indulge in animal food, drinking, smoking, eating food, this is not offered to Krishna. This is all sinful, he says. And then, and one should not abstain from eating also. Fasting too much also is not good, I think. And then Prabhupada says, read that one should not sleep.
One should not sleep more than 6 hours daily. One who sleeps more than 6 hours out of 24 is certainly influenced by the mode of ignorance. A person in the mode of ignorance is lazy and prone to sleep a great deal.
For the person cannot perform yoga, I say. Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnava bodhasya yoga bhavati dukkha.
He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system.
And extravagance is not good in these activities. 4 activities: eating, sleeping, defending and mating, he is saying. It should be regulated, he says. And then he says one can eat prasad, it should be eaten in moderate proportion with a book. He says one should not spend unnecessary time in sleeping, that's a great loss. One should not pass a minute of life, avyartha kalato one should follow. One should not waste one's time. And Haridas Thakur would not even accept prasadam or even sleep for a moment without finishing his daily quota of chanting. Prabhupada says that. So, in this way, just a minute, I will show you. See, here is the complacency definition. Complacency means self-satisfied attitude without a genuine endeavor for improvement, leading to stagnation. 3 things. Having a kind of very, very self-satisfied attitude, not making any efforts at all. Krishna calls it as Vigatajvara. Give up your laziness. 3.30, Krishna says. Give up your laziness. Take initiative. He didn't tell Arjuna, I will fight the battle, Arjun. You sleep in the chariot, that's all. Prabhupada says in one lecture, you don't sleep. You get up, you take initiative. I will only give you clue what to do. You have to do it. So Prabhupada says, complacency is often criticized in spiritual life. Prabhupada emphasized that spiritual life is a dynamic process requiring constant practice. Many places Krishna says, Satatam kirtayanto mam. Correct, no? There's one verse, Ananya chetaha yomam smarati tatyaham salabha partha. So how many times he says, Nitya, Nitya, Satata. You see? Again and again. That means one is likely to become complacent, one is careless. Don't be inattentive, don't be careless. Continuously practice spiritual life. Spiritual life is a dynamic process requiring constant practice and vigilance. For instance, he warned against thinking, I am advanced devotee, I don't need to follow all these rules, as it leads to spiritual. And then Dhritarashtra represents complacency. You see? Despite knowing unrighteousness of Duryodhana's actions, he does nothing to rectify the situation, leading to Kurukshetra war and destruction of whole lineage. So we should be very careful not to. Complacency's personification is Dhritarashtra. Vidura gave such good advice he never heard at all. Repeatedly. Many people advised him, Bhishma, Vidura, many other sages also. And the opposite of complacency is satisfaction. A balanced state of contentment and gratitude while actively pursuing spiritual goals. That means we should have a contentment, because in a material life we should have contentment. In spiritual life we should be greedy to advance. Laulyam. You heard about laulyam? Greed is required. In spiritual life you should look like this. In material life you should look like this. People behind you, you look at them in material life. Then you will never feel anything missing in life. Everyone I'm sitting here, you have 2 eyes here, right? You have 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth, 2 hands, 2 legs, everything is proper. There are people who don't have legs, who don't have hands, correct, no? Some fellows put the hand in the machine and they got their fingers cut, you see, no? Correct? They don't have fingers, you all have fingers. So you'll be grateful for the body you have. Think about the food you are getting 3 times a day you are eating. There are people who don't get even once in 3 days. You are eating 3 times in 1 day. Think about it. There are people who have no education and literacy. You are educated in a good institute. There are people who have no jobs, jobless. You have a job. There are people who are not born in a good family. Father and mother are divorced. But imagine you are born in a family where mother, father raised you from childhood up to now. Huh? So think about all this. So in this way, you have a reason to be, unlimited reasons to be grateful, huh? And satisfied in your situation rather than become depressed. So satisfaction is encouraged when it aligns with spiritual progress. Huh? And a devotee should be satisfied with their material circumstances, but remain enthusiastic about advancing in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada says that in the purport, 2.55, you'll see that. Huh? So that means, all of you repeat this, remain enthusiastic in material circumstances and be greedy to advance in Krishna consciousness. That is like a golden statement. Huh? Yeah. So Yudhishthira Maharaj is a very, very high, great example of satisfaction. In whatever situation he was put, he was satisfied. Whether in the forest or in the throne. All times, yeah. Okay. Moderation, balance. Srila Prabhupada ki. Okay, just two examples at the end I'll tell you. Ajamila became complacent in his Brahminical culture. He did not grow out of Brahmana status to become a Vaishnava. Therefore, he became allured by a prostitute. Even all of us, with growing years, if we don't grow in our knowledge, grow in our bliss, grow in our services, grow in our role in which we are put. So one boy was asking, why Krishna is kept like this? Why have to keep growing? Why can't we be peaceful? See, imagine you are put in a river. You say you have to keep on swimming. Then only you go. If you don't swim, you will be taken down. It's the same manner, spiritual life. Company also nowadays, if you join, can you just sit peacefully in company? You have to keep abreast. AI is coming nowadays. One of my relatives is in a computer company, Dell. Relative was saying that unless you keep abreast of what is happening in AI, many company IT people cannot survive nowadays. Keep abreast of what is happening and you keep on growing, keep learning. Learning is not just only in the college nowadays. Even in company, you have to learn a lot nowadays. So material, spiritual life in both places. In spiritual life also, tomorrow you become brahmachari. Nobody wants a brahmachari who is not very learned, who is not very intelligent, who cannot present the philosophy according to Desh Kalapatra. Yeah? If somebody is a stereotype, they will say that, oh, please send that devotee, not this devotee, they will say. Even your demand anywhere is going to be based on how you understand the world around you and you can make a change in the world around you. Whether material or spiritual life, if you're complacent, you don't grow. You become stagnated. So Ajamila became complacent in his own Brahminical status. He didn't grow out to become a Vaishnava. Bharat Maharaj became complacent because of the attachment to the deer. Dhritarashtra became complacent due to attachment to son, Duryodhana. Yeah. Uttanabad became very complacent because of attachment to his beautiful wife. And he allowed his son to go to forest even, 5-year-old boy. Later on, he was ashamed for his act, like that. So, sadhana got stagnated for Bharat Maharaj because of attachment to deer. So, we have to be very careful. Be alert always, not become stagnated. Even Yayati Maharaj, if you take, he says, Najatu kama kamanam. No, there's another verse also. Evam varsh sahasrani manashashtair manasukham vidadano apina tripyat sarvabhauma kadindriya. He says, I am king of the world, 1,000 years, Devayani, you and me, we lived a lavish life, but with all kingly facilities useless, we never became happy. We have become very lethargic and complacent in material life. Now I want to throw all this and go to forest and become a seriously practicing devotee. So you should feel unhappy about your current status and you should want to grow out of it. How many of you sometimes feel that I'm not doing enough what I should be doing? Correct, no? At least we should know what all I'm not doing and what I'm supposed to do. At least we should make a list. How many of you already made a list but you're not able to execute? Yeah. Only 2 of you, that's all. Others, you have not yet started making lists also. I have a big list also. I have a file filled with 30-40 items for action. Only thing is there's no time to act. But find out how to act. So the first step is to look at your life, how it is going. And the second step is to see what are the mistakes I am doing and how I can grow out of it. How with growing years, I know I should not go through life, but grow through life, you say, no? How to grow. Then you are not complacent, then you are growing. Keep yourself not in comfort zone, but in stretch zone. Huh? Then stretch zone, you are going to be growing. Just like weightlifters keep on adding weights. Keep adding weights to your spiritual life also, huh? So that you will do more and more over the years. Huh? In terms of sadhana, in terms of seva, in terms of relationship. How do you improve in relationship? Make rough relationships smooth. That's an improvement. In missionary activities, you were not distributing books before, now you go and distribute books. You were not joining some outdoor engagements, now you go. You were doing only indoor, now you go to outdoor. That means you are improving that. In sadhana, you are just chanting 16 rounds somehow or other. Naam ke vaste, naam kar diya. You're finishing. Now daytime, take out some time in the afternoon, go to the terrace somewhere, sit and chant 4 extra rounds with more conscious awareness and everything. And you're improving in sadhana. Similarly, study of the scriptures also. So, and in relationship, earlier you were just reading alone, now you read in a group of devotees. Earlier you were on your own. Now, in this way, in each area you can write down. In my relationship with devotees, in my sadhana, in my dealings, like that you can write. And you can get out of our complacent zone to come to the zone of growth. Then you fastly progress in spiritual life. Shri Prabhupada ki. Thank you. I can take one or two questions. Yeah, please. Anybody? So one section took a long time, this Vena section, but I wanted to give you the background of the Brahmana's thought and King's thought, everything. And there the point is, the Brahmanas are saying that you may be a spiritualist, but you can't show a blind eye to what is happening in society. You have to worry, because the political fellows are the fellows who are holding the control of any country, correct? The lands are in their hands, sanctions are in their hands. So not all Brahmanas can effectively do what these Brahmanas did. They are like bureaucrats. Nowadays we have 20,000 bureaucrats in India, who are IAS people. IAS type of people are the fellows, are thinking fellows. They are like politicians. They are like Chanakya type fellows. So therefore it's very important that the intelligent IAS people are trained in Krishna consciousness before they enter into their roles. That will be a very great service, because then they can do great good to the world. Correct, not good to the country. Yeah.
Thank you, Guruji, for this wonderful lecture. I was just thinking, when some devotees, after their student time is gone and they're going to working life, they get money also, money is in hand. Sometimes it becomes difficult for them to be not to be complacent and to be enthusiastic as they were in the
college days.
So what are the things they should take care so that they can remain in the same enthusiasm, maintain the same enthusiasm?
Best thing is they should remain in the voice only, not go out. Do work from voice, like work from home. Voice is home away from home. Stay in the voice with devotees. Now that they have a job, they don't have much studies like college days. They should go for mentoring, giving lectures, cultivating people, distributing books, organizing events. And in case the center becomes very big, we can make 2 centers. One working boys center, one student center. But both should be preaching. Not that working boys can just sleep. They also preach. What we have done in GGD, Pune. We have one center, GGD. From there we have started 3 more centers. Now we have SAE college, one center we have started. Koth Road we have started one more center. As number of boys increase, don't keep more than 15. 15 to 18 should stay in one center. Then more than 15 you grow into second center, and then identify one good leader and make him. So one leader for 10 to 15 people. Make 3-4 centers. In case your total number of devotees is 45 devotees. So you can make 3 centers. With 15, 15, 15. And all the 3 can be given 3 different targets. Somebody can preach in NIT Rourkela, somebody can preach in another college also. There are many colleges, correct now? Or one group can preach to first year NIT Rourkela. Other group can preach to second, third, fourth. Another group can preach to MTech and PhD. Correct now? In this way, different groups can have different goals. So multiple groups working for multiple targets. Overall devotee produce will be enormous later on. So in this way, keeping I have realized over the years, I have to really honestly admit some of the mistaken conceptions I had in the early years. In NVCC, beginning 2012, I was telling, you want to make ashram for 1,000 brahmacharis. It's not a good idea. You will simply be accumulating bunch of lazy fellows, as Prabhupada says. Because if you keep 1,000 fellows, many will be eating, sleeping, they won't do anything. Therefore, right now my understanding is brahmacharya ashram means you should not exceed 30. Anywhere. 25 to 30 max. The 1 liter can manage them. Beyond, in Hyderabad, I already told them, when you touch 25, start sending out bunches of devotees to different places. Start multiple preaching centers in different places. Just put 5 brahmacharis with 1 leader. They do more than 50 brahmacharis staying in one temple. They can do so much. You know that? Because try to picturize in your mind an individual who is very enthusiastic. 5 individuals coming together, how powerfully they can do. On the other hand, 50 people unenthusiastic, they will do nothing. So, missionary activities is the secret for breaking complacency. Missionary activities, number 1. Number 2, when they are in the college, they are under the control of the brahmacharis as wise devotees. Once they go to job, they get free access to Wi-Fi. And they sprinkle the firewood with moisture. When they go to company, because of connecting with opposite sex in the projects and connecting with Wi-Fi, more freedom for watching the dirty things. Then Bhogeshwarya Prasaktana, then Sadbuddhi is gone, Kubuddhi comes in. After that, they get very degraded. Once they start contemplating on sex life, they lose the power. And when they are free from sex life, power. That's where the real strength comes. That's the second reason. The 2 things, Bhoga and Aishwarya. Bhoga is woman, Aishwarya is money. So they get both. Correct? No? Then they become allured. So the age 21 to 28 is a very powerful age where brahmacharis can still keep in touch with them and try to engage them very nicely and safeguard them from the money and sex. Actually, there are many devotees in ISKCON, honest devotees, who are giving 50% of their earning to ISKCON society. So those boys, I can write a bond and give you. If any boy says, Prabhuji, I am earning 1.5 lakh per month, 75,000 I am giving to ISKCON, voice for preaching, he cannot be a weak devotee. As much as we can say, for example, a brahmachari who controls his senses and mind, faithfully follows the Guru's order, he will be ecstatic devotee. Same manner, any boy who follows this Prabhupada formula 50%, he gives it away to ISKCON, which hardly anybody does. But I know I can give you names of devotees also in ISKCON who are doing that. In many communities, there are a few communities where every member gives 50%. But it's a small community, but it's a very strong community. So there are counselors also. In one counselor group, every member of the counselor group gives 40%. You know. So somebody may say, 50% if I give, how will I maintain my family? It's not a difficult thing. You know, you actually imagine you are getting 1.5 lakh, 75 you gave. In 75 you can not only maintain family, you can save also. Provided you keep your life simple. Yeah, keep it like as he says in this. But how many people are ready to do that? People may hear a lecture and say, Aaj ki Anandi ki jai, and they'll go. They continue doing that. So that's the problem. We accumulate too many devotees who are not committed, surrendered, who are not detached. So attached fellows cannot do much. Those who are truly detached, a grihastha or a NS boy, detached means 50% he has to give. That's the meaning of truly detached. By the way, pada baat karenge. Similarly, a brahmachari, you see his lifestyle. What is his simplicity? What is his shastric study? What is his morning program? What is his engagement in the day? You know, what are his interests? What are his ambitions? Easily you can say which brahmachari is what substance he is made up of. It's very easy. So, as much as brahmachari is taught about sense control and simplicity, grihastha is taught about giving charity and sadhu sangha. This is another thing. Many of the NS boys and grihasthas, they live like a frog in the well, like we say antakupam, which means they don't associate with saintly persons. They are afraid. They think that if I go near saintly person, they will try to make me serious devotee. निकट नहीं जाऊंगा, दूर से नमस्कार करके भाग जाऊंगा. From a distance only offer obeisances and run away. Because as soon as, imagine if anybody comes close to me, I will say, Prabhu, how are you? For a long time I didn't see you. Yes, Prabhuji, I'm all right, Prabhuji, I'm all right, Prabhuji. I am all right, Prabhuji. Because they know that I will give them some service. They fear the service because they know that if you go near brahmacharis, they are going to give you some new service. And I have to do this, I have a wife, I have a child, I have this, I have that, I have to get promotion in the company, I have to satisfy my mother, father, I have to try this. So they are making endeavors, but not in spiritual life. They are making endeavors in material life. Grow materially, grow materially, grow materially. They never do. That's the reason why they are not able to contribute much. Actually, they should have faith in Prabhupada, Guru and Krishna that I have come to a certain status in material life. It's enough now. Now I will continue earning in this particular job or something. I'm in this particular position. Now let me turn to Krishna and Guru and do something for Prabhupada. Anyone who feels very strongly that I want to do for Prabhupada something, it's immaterial whether you are married or brahmachari or whatever. They can do wonders. Yeah. But how many are ready? There are surely people ready. They are few, not many. Those who are sincere, they only can do in any ashram. Yeah.
In between the lecture, you were sharing about this karma tendency, jnana tendency.
Yeah, correct.
Many times in the lecture also. So, but we see that in our society, the devotees, when they start with, say for example, you have to think about the Sanskrit study about that. So, devotee who starts, we also need devotee who is educated in Sanskrit and so on. We have a body also, I think. So, devotees who, in the initial when they start, they don't have any moral interest or anything. They have a genuine interest to serve the society, to study deeper into the scriptures and present Prabhupada in a better way. But within the course of their journey, somehow they slip into maybe because of offenses or carelessness or with the force of the current material nature, they get into this kind of argument. Hair becomes bigger, or maybe dealing with property or with women. So somehow, and this happens mostly, if not with all, at least majority of some
Yeah.
leaders who never had a wrong interest,
Yeah.
but eventually they get that track.
Over the period of time, the Karpatva, the weeds grow, and the weeds are blocking the Bhakti Lata. That's true, yeah.
So what are the things that need to a devotee who is taking this kind of service needs to take care of? He safeguards himself from.
Oh, very simple. They have to first of all have a deep respect for some superior under whose guidance they should do these things. And also they should be regularly accountable. Regularly accountable. For example, every month some reporting, what am I doing now and where am I? And another thing, if the superior says that, one example I'll tell you. There's one fellow who is a very young devotee, but who is becoming very famous in YouTube now. And, so this devotee is growing. So he asked that, Prabhu, when I am growing very fast, there are people who are becoming envious, extremely envious, and many people are openly coming to him only and speaking in a way that they're very envious, like that. So now what to do? Then I told, see, you don't make special efforts to become popular. For example, some people are making very special focused effort, because nowadays there are agencies, if you request them, increase my viewership, they have employees who put many likes, like, they strike it and they boost it up. And then based on that number of likes increased, many others also think it must be a good video. Then they also watch and the likes increase. There are ways to multiply your viewership like that. That's one of the things, Artificial ways. Similarly, there are people who are advising you how to prepare some pre-prepared scripts to speak poetically, rhythmically, and then you keep it in front of you and you see and read it. Correct? And things like that you do. So then people think, hey, his mouth is emanating great wisdom, because you just get quotes here and there and put it in a poetic form. They speak. So many people are doing drama like this to become popular and all. And then immediately you get 200K, 500K, and 1 million and 2 million, things like that. And then you become object of envy for others. So, and then you don't attend the morning program, because you are preparing for all these things. You are not dancing with devotees in the kirtan. You are not eating prasad with the devotees. You walk as if you have a halo around your head. You don't distribute books. So I told these devotees some very simple things. I said that, how many devotees are you bringing from your preaching like this? Are the people are making you popular, but they don't want to become devotees? Then what's the use? Correct, no? So number one criteria I told you, generate a lot from this group and train them as 1600 devotees. That's one thing that devotee is doing. Another thing I told them, don't go for artificial ways to increase the popularity, going to radio, going to TV, so he's making 3-4 specialized efforts to increase his following. I don't do that. Leave it. Let it organically grow. Correct? No? There was one devotee in one of the temples, who was also a very good preacher. In a very short time, he increased to 30, 40K or 50K, like that he came. Now he came to know that he is no more a brahmachari. He has become a motivational speaker now. He has left the ashram, changed from saffron to white now, because this is a danger in this line. If somebody is headlong going in a mode of growing popularity and all, then material popularity becomes more important for you than spiritual development. Correct, no? So I told this devotee, don't go like that. Keep your preaching. Your essence of your preaching should be to bring people to Krishna. Make devotees. Also, dance with devotees, chant with devotees, live in the ashram peacefully, attend all the programs, do in Rome as Romans do, as we say. So now this devotee is trying, doing all these things, and eventually he will make good friends in the ashram. Once he is very simple and friendly, people will not envy him. Otherwise, people think that he is very young devotee, came much later than us, and he has become very famous now. So therefore, we have to be careful. You understand the point? No? Similarly, accountability, I would say, regular accountability to a stable Vaishnava. That will take care of the protection of the devotee. And not only accountability, after that accountability, the devotee tells you, do this, don't do this. One should follow that. But some people think, oh, there is one devotee whose YouTube shorts I told him that without my approval, he cannot post. So regularly he sends me every week, maybe 8 or 10 he will send me. I will see it myself. And I tell him some of them to block, don't put. Some of them he can. So he was very disturbed in the beginning. He said, Prabhuji, you are so busy, give me somebody else under you. I can report to them, not you. He said, no, I only want to say. That person under me, you will dance on his head. I know that you are dancing on my head only. You will dance on his head, 100% guaranteed. I only have to approve. Now he is sending me. Now last many months he is sending. So I only approve. So because he has some respect for me, so he is protected. Correct, no? Imagine if he is left free. And this fellow, he wants to go to America. And he wants to go to Gulf. Many people are, he's saying, inviting me because I am slowly increasing my popularity now. Please allow me to go. I was not allowing. I said, first you have to become mature. Only then, when will I become mature? He said, it may take 5-10 years. He said. Then he told them to write a letter to me. They wrote to me. From Australia, from America, from 3-4 letters came. I was surprised how people are inviting him so much. Then one person, I called him. Prabhuji, you wrote this letter. Prabhuji, what to do? Prabhuji, he's telling us to write to you. So then I caught him. Because you did this, 5 more years extended now. If it is 5 years, now from 5 you make it 10 years now. He said, don't do drama like a clown. You have come to become a Krishna conscious devotee. So these are all things. You give a self-invitation, say, Prabhuji, they are inviting me, what to do? I think I have to go now. And if I tell you don't go, I think Prabhuji is envious of me. He is not allowing me to grow. See? So therefore, those who think I am envious of them, they will go out of my control also. I have seen there are people who have done that also. Some people thought that Radheshyam is very smart in detecting the anarthas. So some people want to go out of my radar range. They say, Prabhuji, I will be under so-and-so, someone else. Yes, okay. It's up to you. If you don't want me to vigilantly watch and protect you, you'll be under somebody else's protection. So, and often you will find when they go to that so-called somebody else, eventually they'll get married after that. You'll see that. So therefore accountability from the subordinate side and attentiveness from the superior side. In not only understanding the problem well, giving him the right medicine, which will curb his false ego, which will put him on the right path. Both these are required. Not only accountability. He may be accountable, but the senior says, I'm so too busy, I have no time, I'm going here, going there. If I do that, then he will not be protected. Like one time this fellow, he published 3-4 videos without my consent. And I found out in YouTube. And I caught him. I said, hey, how did you publish these ones? Prabhuji, I sent you, you didn't reply. He said, if I don't reply, don't publish for 1 week to 2 weeks at all. Don't publish anything. I strongly took him. I told him, I banned him for 1 year till next Janmashtami. One time when he had published one very sensational political topic. He had published, so that created some problem. When ISKCON leaders asked it, that sensational thing came out video. So after 1 year I banned him and I told him that you can only publish next year or whatever. The idea is, there has to be some senior who controls this mischievous mentalities of the conditioned soul, and the conditioned soul should be willing to accept that authority. That combination is very important. He is accountable and he is attentive. Then only the jiva will be protected. Correct, no? Yeah. Some people can misunderstand us also when we try to protect them. They think the protection to be limiting them. They think, I am so talented. This Prabhuji is not letting me, that's the freedom I want. I'll go to somebody else. Okay, you go wherever you want. Then I am not responsible for you. Don't take my name. But some people, what they do? They go somewhere and say, I am Radheshyam's man. That's another problem. And then people will say, Prabhuji, he says he is your man. He was, not now. Now he's under somebody else. Now. Yeah. So we can do Mangalarti?
Some devotees are taking Bhagavatam.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Acha, very good.